You're listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to our Front Porch. You're back for another episode of The Front Porch Show. 402-799-1811. The website is www.thefrontporchshow.com. Jeff, you tried to change the number on me right there and then.
I didn't make the number. You made the number. So,
I swear it was you. You were looking at me with that goofy smile of yours. Oh, my goodness. The boys are back in town. We got Jeff across from me, Tombstone off to the other side. How's it going, guys? Got some rain pattering.
Fabulous.
Got the windows open, the birds tweeting.
Yeah, here it's beautiful. You might get some front porch noises. I am not officially on my front porch, but the windows are open and the sun is shining.
So Tombstone does have rain where he's at, and he is going to go move the tarp that is outside his window. That is
we're getting a live stream
of him going to move his tarp. Here he goes.
If we have a
fine shot of the back end of Tombstone now.
Wait, that's not a door. Did he just pull a window?
I think he just He just climbed out a window.
I think he climbed out a window, which he looked very comfortable doing.
He did.
And
he's barefoot,
running barefoot through the rain.
Are those even shorts?
This looks like a commercial for Shaq's Big and Tall Models.
It does.
He's got the shorts. He's got the collared shirt. He's running through the rain barefoot. You slow it down and put some music to it. I think we send that to Shaq's Big and Tall Model search.
I wish we were recording. That's all I'm going to say.
If we were put together enough to have some sort of paywall, for
I know. Trust me. The front porch ladies would have paid to see that one. That's all I'm saying.
I'm back. What did I miss?
Oh no!
Missed some excellent commentary on what was occurring.
We may have been enjoying ourselves a little bit way too much, Tombstone.
Did someone get a screenshot at least?
Unfortunately, no. We were too enamored by what we saw.
We need to record the video of this. I think that needs to happen.
That is one of the things that we're going to try for in the future.
Premium content. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier.
There you go.
Content.
Guys, last week, Jeff, you asked the question, does Yeti exist? Well, actually, you said does Bigfoot, but Yeti's basically the same
Yeti,
creature,
Bigfoot,
right?
Sasquatch.
All those are the same. Did you see that the Indian Army found footprints?
I did notice that article. I thought it was
Wait. Why are you laughing? Do you not believe that the Indian Army has a rigorous process of evidence gathering and analysis? Is that why you're laughing?
Tombstone does have a point there. So my question is this. Why would the Indian Army lie about this?
When's the last time you talked about the Indian Army?
That's
when
a good
they
point.
started shooting it at Pakistanis.
Well, yeah.
2 months ago, whenever it was.
That was kind of around the same time, around that time. No, seriously, what reason would an army have to lie? I mean,
it does seem very weird.
It's like if I want someone to talk about me, I'm not gonna make up something. I guess it just seems weird.
I'm trying to find some high res pics.
There aren't any. Of course.
Like everything else associated with these creatures.
So is this a good time? Is this a good time to talk about Graves' Law of the Internet?
I would love to hear about Graves' Law of the Internet.
All right. Graves' Law of the Internet is if you're researching a really, really sensitive topic like 9/11 trutherism, or if we actually went to the moon, or whether the earth is flat, the closer you get to the truth, the more BS is stood up to obscure any actual information. Right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, and I think this is just a function of the kind of people that are attracted to conspiracy theories. A lot of them are paranoid schizophrenics and they can't think clearly.
Meaning the closer you get to the actual answer, the closer it's revealed that it's actually true, the bigger the bull crap has to be in order to attempt to hide.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that's a conspiracy. I think it's a function of the kind of people that are interested in conspiracy theories.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
Wait, so because I was thinking what you were saying is the closer you get to the truth, the more like fake stories are put up there to cover the truth.
Well, it is.
I mean,
So
I suppose, but
so run that by me again. So you're just saying
take the moon
the
landing.
Closer you get to true. Okay, give me an example
landing,
about
for
this.
instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, so take the moon landing. Say
I'm
that.
taking it.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say here. So I'm staring at this beautiful pretzel in my hand, thinking I want to shove it in my mouth, but I can't because I'm talking.
Mathis and food.
I know, man. It's bad. Remember the recursive cookie loop. No, so take the moon
pretzel
landing, for
is an
instance.
actual
Remember the
loop.
theories of why it didn't happen. You know, you can't get through the Van Allen belt. You can't,
Right.
you know, the spaceship wouldn't have enough power to escape the Earth's gravity.
right.
You know, just a whole bunch of little ridiculous things like that. And then they finally get to, well, the photos were doctored. And then they're like, you know, well, we found this place that could have been where they filmed it. And the closer you get, the bigger and weirder the stuff gets. And has
Right.
to get.
Yeah.
The bigger and weirder the stories become in order to prove it wrong.
I see what
Right.
you're saying. The closer the story gets to being true, the more
Or false.
insane.
Like the closer
or
you
false.
get to an answer one way or the other. I don't know. Let's not get too far down that rabbit hole. We have so many other cool things to talk about, the Indian Army notwithstanding.
Did you get the pictures I sent you, Tombstone?
I'm looking at the Twitter at this moment.
Those are big footprints, but I'd like to see them next to a human footprint.
Those aren't high-res photos, but
According
they're
to
better
the
than what I
article,
had.
the footprints
Those look like they've been
measured
melted. That's the problem.
32
Yes.
by 15 inches. 32 inches by 15 inches.
That's a
is
really
the size
big
of the
foot.
footprint, according to the.
That's a
this
really
article.
big foot. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
That's funny. Yeah, I just. It sounds like
I'm
snowshoes.
not buying it.
Sounds
I'm
like
not buying
snowshoes.
it.
Yeah, it kind of
Maybe.
does. Except they're like in an extremely straight line. Have you seen if this is the picture of them?
Yeah,
like-
I'm looking at
posted-
it now. You're right.
They're in
The
a
Indian Army
straight
posted
line.
volleyball competition pictures.
What?
What else have they posted?
They did a career counseling fair at Jodhpur on May 2nd and May 3rd.
Oh, look, it's the Indian Army. It's the Indian Army calendar. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
Wait,
wasn't going to
what?
click on that.
I said,
Oh. Is it like a firefighter calendar?
Yeah, of
Anyways, okay. We should do a front porch show calendar.
Oh man.
we got our first shot there, Tombstone, with
exclusively-
you climbing out your window.
Yeah.
Exclusively photos of me climbing in and out windows in my sunroom.
Which, by the way, you did that with ease. Like you've done it before. Have you
I
tried
have
to
done it
escape
before.
something out that window before?
No, but I have had to move things in and out of this room, and it's the easiest way to do it sometimes. The windows, for the audience, the windows in this room are quite tall. The windows are about,
They're
I think
practically
they're
floor to
7
ceiling.
feet. I think they're 7 feet tall, and they're about, it looks like they're about 2 feet wide. So I can, even with my considerable
Whoa.
bulk, I
So
can
you
squeeze
can't
through.
you can't use the door behind you.
I don't know. 2 foot wide, you fit through it. It might be like 2.5. I mean,
I went through it,
just
yeah, but I
saying.
went through it sideways. I wouldn't try to go through it
Oh,
front
that's
ways.
true. That's true.
So, anyways,
No,
Aaron,
that
what else
was-
do we have on the
that was
docket for
impressive.
today?
We've got don't wash your chicken according to the CDC. As in raw
What?
chicken, your meat. We'll talk about that.
Don't wash
Okay.
your chicken.
We've got the
I see
Alabama lawmaker.
You sent
who-
me another article from the frickin'
I did.
Daily Star
I did.
about NASA. I'm just going to give you the keywords here: NASA, scientist, time travel, possible.
Yes.
That's really. I mean, do you even really need to read the article with that much
we
information?
will dive into it. Also, do you remember the guy in Georgia, Vermont, Fairfax, Vermont, with the giant middle finger that he stuck up on the top of the post?
I actually don't
I do
remember.
remember.
to
I do
shine
remember that one.
to shine the light on his cruel.
Because the government wouldn't let him put up a sign of a certain
He
size.
wouldn't. No,
or
he wouldn't.
something.
He wouldn't. They wouldn't let him put up a shop on his own property.
That's right.
Yeah, so actually this is Westford, which is near Fairfax, I guess. Kid Rock contacted him and wanted the same sign. Wanted the same giant finger to go on his property in Nashville. So, we've got the topics, guys.
I feel like we are getting away from the high culture that we originally espoused on this show, and we've devolved into silliness.
Tombstone.
Oh wait,
Tombstone.
It's always been this way.
We have you.
Complain. You complained when I go there with the principles and the high culture. So
I resemble that remark.
For some reason, I thought that intro felt like Canada, and I don't know. I
don't know. Why that 420 felt like Canada, but no.
Oh man,
that definitely felt like a 420 intro. Don't ask me why.
I feel what you're feeling, man. I don't know. I mean, just anyways, I might be stretching on that. Guys, let's go north of the border to British Columbia, Canada.
I don't get the accent.
I don't know either. I was trying to do a Canadian accent, but it just didn't work.
Take off, guys.
Dude, you realize your accent is not actually that far from a Canadian accent. Your regular accent.
You hosers.
Yeah, all right, just stop. Just stop.
So
Bob and Doug McKenzie will be appearing later on the show.
Who?
Great Way North.
Who?
Great Way North. Rick Moranis and I forget the other.
I don't know
It's
who
an
you're
old
talking
reference.
about.
Let's go.
Wow. I'm so sorry. I feel young now. All of a sudden, Jeff showed us his age. So out of British Columbia, Canada, in February, I remember reading about this in February, and we bypassed the story for a multitude of reasons back then. 14-year-old Maxine, name has been changed to protect the innocent, I guess.
We can assume it's not Maxine
order.
Waters.
No, it's guaranteed not.
Due to the age.
Due to the age. 14-year-old Maxine received testosterone injections without parental consent because she wanted to be a he. She
wanted,
or he
wanted. That's harsh language there.
Began regular injections at the British Columbia Children's Hospital over the course of the last 2 months. Her father does not support this. Her father does not believe that this should be happening and strongly objects this. And he gave a series of interviews repeatedly referring to his daughter as a girl, which she is, which her DNA proves she is. Biologically.
Chromosomes never lie.
Chromosomes do not lie. And so anyways, to make a long story short, he has been now taken to court and now must be banned from talking about this in any form or fashion, giving paperwork or court paperwork to anyone. All because he does not believe that his daughter is a boy.
Now, what crime or what? If it's not a crime, what was he convicted of? What was the terminology?
Family violence. Family violence.
So he was convicted of family violence for misgendering his daughter, who has already, through the provisions provided for in Canada, British Columbia, was receiving these injections without parental consent.
Yes.
So now, did the mother give consent?
I don't know. It doesn't say. That's the problem with this, because we don't know. Because a lot of information is being withheld, not talked about.
because the first part is very, very troubling when hospitals are providing services to minors without parental consent. If there's literally no parental consent. Agreed. Now, if one parent signed off, another one didn't, then that's something that's got to be resolved within the family because parental consent happened.
I feel like we're missing some vital information from this story. Not that any of this is good because it's obviously bad. But yeah, no, I feel like isn't this what Jordan Peterson warned us about like 5 years ago when he was going through this whole thing? Did we talk about this already? Because I feel like we've talked about that.
No, we talked about Jordan Peterson, I think, but this is exactly what he warned us about. He said that they were going to make it a crime for speech. They're going to compel speech, and if you don't agree with their compelled speech, it's going to be a crime. And everyone said, no, it's not. And he was specifically referring to jail time, and they said, no one's going to get jail time. They talk about these fines that they might be, and I don't think we've seen anything that the father's gotten jail time.
Not yet.
That. Okay.
Not yet, unless he defies these court orders.
So they keep using the term family violence, and they kept using it in a way that obviously, you know, it sounds kind of like here in the U.S., maybe like domestic abuse or something. And so I wanted to see what the Canadian definition of family violence.
I did a perfunctory Google, and I wasn't able to find.
So I'm on the Department of Justice website for Canada. Family violence laws. They have a tab.
Canadians meme Department of Justice. Sorry.
They have a tab devoted to family violence. It mentions that there's no specific offense of family violence in the criminal code, but most acts of family violence are crimes in Canada, and relevant criminal offenses could include. So here are the things.
So is this a make it up as you go crime? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
Because there are some provinces and territories that do have family violence legislation, and British Columbia is not listed among them in a specific act. So in general,
so this is a very strange story.
So in general, here are things that could be considered family violence in Canada. So offenses that are related to the use of physical and sexual violence, such as assault, kidnapping, forcible confinement, trafficking in persons, abduction of a young person, homicide, sexual assault, sexual offenses, et cetera, et cetera.
All things that probably should fall under the heading of family violence.
Exactly. Offenses related to the administration of justice, such as disobeying of a court order, failure to comply with condition of undertaking, failure to comply with probation order.
Was he the recipient of a court order?
He was. Court order was you can't give any information out. He gave the information out.
Well, but that's not why he's in trouble. He's in trouble for the gendering, right?
See, that's $1 million question. That's what the title of the article says.
So this is what I was saying, and I honestly don't wonder if this goes back to exactly what I was talking about earlier with sensitive information. It's like this is a really important case, and information to help us understand it is being purposely left out.
It's being purposely obscured because most people would probably be outraged about the decision that was made.
Yeah.
Because it all comes down to what happens to if the police charge the person who abused you, and at the very end, if the person who abused you is found guilty, the judge will decide on a sentence such as a fine, probation, or jail time.
Okay.
So what Jordan Peterson predicted is coming true.
So he is convicted. This is by the judge in the court order. He's convicted of family violence of a public denial of Maxine's gender identity because he violated a protection order preventing him from speaking to journalists about or the public about his case.
So
technically, it's because he violated the court order.
So
but it
here's
was
how they're doing this. He violated the court order that said don't. Now, did it say don't speak to anybody at all, or if you speak to someone, call?
No, it was don't speak to anyone, journalists or public. You're not allowed.
And yet, read the first part of that again, because he's not being convicted for violating a court order. He's being convicted for what? Read the first part again.
Public denial of gender identity.
Public denial of gender identity and violating the court order not to talk to press. So that, to me, there's a lot of lines blurred here. And like Tombstone said, we got to know more information.
No, I agree.
It sounds like, whether directly or indirectly, exactly what Jordan Peterson was absolutely lambasted for saying was going to happen is happening.
Oh, without a doubt, it's come true.
They are compelling speech, and when you don't comply with that compelled speech, there will be consequences. This guy isn't in jail yet, but there are consequences. He is now legally in trouble for correctly referring to his daughter's biological sex or gender. And again, those unfortunately...
Tombstone, by the way, is getting hail. Tombstone's getting hail right now.
Yes, he looks like he ran going to make sure down the hatches, make sure everything's.
I'm checking I'm checking right now. He does not have any tornado warnings in his area or anything. But I am. Oh no! Severe thunderstorm warning for his entire like where he lives.
So there could be some hail.
There is hail.
I know the clothes on the line are not going to be dry.
There is hail. No, the clothes on the line will not be dry.
Let's see what he says here.
Yes, here he is. He's back. You're back at the mic, Tombstone. We're glad to have you back. Hail. We totally just cut off our last segment. Tombstone, it is incredible there.
We can hear it.
Tell us,
there it is.
Nuts.
Tombstone is our man on the ground. Tell us what's going on in your area. By the way, I just pulled up the radar map, and it is gnarly, man.
You see all that water?
I see the water.
How big's the hail?
That's coming out of my gutters.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it looks like you need to clean your gutters, man.
I don't know if I need to clean them or if there's just too much water.
That's incredible. Well, you've got a ginormous cell right over your house.
Yeah, that's how it be this time of year.
I mean, yeah, it happens.
So,
but that's incredible, man. That's just incredible.
I just got up and shut all the windows here in my sunroom. So.
I apologize. I wish you didn't have to do that because
it's all good. The hail quit, so hopefully my car windscreen won't be smashed like it was 2 years ago.
So Jeff,
complete side note: have you seen the pictures of people in Texas like trying to protect their car from hail, and they've got like pillows duct taped to the window
laying
and
on
stuff?
The car.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But all right, so yes, what do you got for me?
So basically, to sum up the story, Jordan Peterson talked about this a lot, like that eventually it was going to be an issue in Canada where they were going to convict you for your speech, and things like this would happen.
It's essentially what launched him into the international public view, because I think he'd written some books. I think like he was known. I didn't know who he was.
He wrote some really obscure books.
Yes,
and and then
although to be fair. He did start writing 12 Rules for Life before he became famous. So, but yes, his first book, Maps of Meaning, is, I haven't read it, but from what I've heard, he said, it's extremely opaque. So yes, this is what launched him, and he didn't even want to be launched, in my opinion. Like, he is kind of he made these statements. He said, we're on a college campus, there should be free speech, and you can't compel my speech. And he was dragged onto interview after interview. And it was like when they couldn't defeat him one-on-one, they would put a panel of like 3 people against him, and just try to talk about how wrong he was. I'm doing a quick search right now to see if he's actually said anything about this particular case.
That would actually be a good. We should have thought of that before we even started the segment, but
I don't see it. I don't see anything. So
I haven't heard anything recent that he said about it, or on his Twitter. I haven't seen anything. It's interesting. Guys,
wait, nope, he did post about it. He made a post about it on Facebook. I'm going to see if he actually, but it's just a post, no commentary.
So interesting.
What we want is the commentary.
Guys, I wanted to go from Canada down to South Africa.
Pretty much the same.
Except somewhat the same.
No, it's definitely not.
Castor,
I've been both places.
Castor
there's a vast
Semenya
difference.
Is a track star in South Africa.
I know about this.
She's a female track star who has unnaturally high levels of testosterone.
Okay.
But she is not doping. It's just the fact that her body is producing extra.
Sometimes that happens.
Yes, sometimes that happens.
Wasn't there a question of whether or not she's actually an intersex person?
She is, DNA-wise, she is a female.
Okay.
100% female. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it raises an interesting question here.
So she is being. Yeah,
So
this is what I was.
She's getting in trouble with Track and Field's international ruling body, saying that she has an unfair advantage over female athletes.
Now, have any of these transgender track stars or other people that we've seen competed under the authority of the same body yet?
As far as I know, no.
So males have to reduce their natural testosterone levels and maintain them for 6 months in order to be able to compete in certain track and field.
So there's an official cutoff of T levels.
Yeah. So they have a level. And she's over.
So this is
naturally.
not necessarily related to your sex. This is more related to chemical difficulties.
Yes, but the issue is that she is naturally higher.
Wait. When you say that males have to reduce their testosterone level to compete in certain events,
in female events,
in male events, or in female
events.
So that's it, Tombstone. He's saying if you are going to transgender, a transgender then must reduce them and prove that they've got the lower levels.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So is that level the same as the level they're accusing her of exceeding?
Yes. So she is above that quote unquote legal level.
So
as a natural female.
But see, so actually, I thought you were going to go here and say they're harping on a natural female for too much testosterone, but they're going to let a male compete against women.
Well, they are going to let a male compete against women.
But if they're going to hold them to the same testosterone level, they are actually being consistent in their principles.
But Jeff,
I completely disagree. I completely disagree.
I know.
But they're being consistent in their policy application.
But that means the IAAF thinks or claims that the only differentiation between a male and a female is testosterone.
True, which is why
that's baloney.
Which is why I disagree with the philosophy that's driving this lifestyle and this decision making. But if that's their measure, if their measure here's where you're right. Their measure for a female athlete to compete is a certain amount of testosterone. How are you defining female? That's where our disagreement is. If they're going to allow someone who's transgendered and identifies as female to compete against the females, then the only standard they have is testosterone, and as long as that person's below it, they're applying their rules consistently. But I disagree with their philosophy.
Okay, I have information on this topic.
Okay, shoot.
She has XY chromosomes.
So she's intersex.
So she is intersex, yeah. And that's like the basic scientific definition.
Wait, so explain that again.
She's got XX
she's a biological XY. She's a biological woman. She has XY chromosomes. It's a very unusual condition. She's not transgender. She's intersex. So she has a conflicting set of chromosomes and biological traits. Is basically.
I think doesn't this occasionally happen if there's like twins and like one's absorbed into the other or something like that? I've read stories of that kind of stuff before. I'm no doctor, so I don't know. I don't read a story
that's
similar
chimerism.
To that before.
That's a different thing.
Okay.
So, but here's an interesting side note. All 3 women's Olympic 800 medalists from 2016 are believed to be intersex. Which this makes a lot of sense because say that again for me. All 3 women's Olympic 800 meter medalists from 2016 are believed to be intersex. Which makes a lot of sense.
It would make sense. They would have naturally higher testosterone levels, leading to
which means they can put
muscle mass.
They can put muscle on, and bone structure.
Wait, so she does have male chromosomes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. She's got XY and XX. She's truly scientifically intersex.
I'm reading here because I heard a conflicting article last week that she was not intersex. I'm
getting all my information from YouTube.
Yeah, no, I know.
Probably
I know.
means it's slightly less reliable than CNN, but
hold on, I'm getting a note slid across the table here. She's writing frantically when she could just grab the mic and volunteer her information.
Yeah, Alyssa is kind of like our
Alyssa. Please grab the mic real quick.
We need Alyssa's input on this.
Producer.
She says she's shaking her head. She says no.
She's keeping us grounded, but not willing to do it verbally.
No, she said it's way too deep.
What's way too deep?
What's way too deep? She won't tell us.
We're deep guys. We're deep guys.
She won't tell us.
This is a deep show.
She won't tell us. They were complaining about they weren't going deep enough earlier, and we just went deep.
Come on.
Nope, she's out. She says no. She won't do it. She's working on something else. She's done.
She could correct the error of our male ways, and she is just going to let us flounder around in the darkness instead of enlightening us.
Alyssa, part of the reason we're floundering is because this is awkward.
She's not listening.
She's not listening.
Nope. Not listening. I'm telling you, she's not like
both.
So what did she write? So what did she frantically scribble and hand to you?
She frantically scribbled something and didn't give it to me. And nope, don't. She's shaking her head. She's like, nope, I'm not doing it.
I've never felt so unfulfilled in my life.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Okay. We've gone pretty far on this. Can we put a pin in this and come back to it? Because trying to Google this on the fly is not working out for us so far.
Yeah.
And Alyssa has basically done everything except told us we're stupid.
Right.
So we probably should stop.
I'd love to find that out. So let's go to break. We'll come back. We'll sum it up, and then we'll talk about space travel and time travel.
Oh boy,
more interesting things.
I don't know which is worse at this point.
All right, we'll be right back. Of course, I can't hit the outro. Wow, there we go. Batting zero today, guys. Batting zero. Good thing I'm not a 800-yard meter runner. See, look.
Runners don't.
I'm out.
Just end the show.
They deliver in other ways, but they want to deliver vast amounts of information over the internet. And again, the internet is not something that you just dump something on. It's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes. And if you don't understand, those tubes can be filled. And if they're filled, when you put your message in, it gets in line. It's going to be delayed by anyone that puts into that tube enormous amounts of material.
So, guys, we're back.
We are putting enormous amounts of material into the tubes of the interwebs.
We are, and thank you to the interwebs. They helped us parse this issue and figure out what our misgivings were with it.
I don't know if we've parsed or figured out anything, but you seem more.
So let me sum it up.
With this,
I thought I was convinced that she had female DNA. Okay, that's where I came to the article and understood.
Okay, I have to point out
which
DNA is not male or female.
Yeah, chromosomes is where we're at.
Chromosomes. I'm sorry, chromosomes. So I apologize.
We're just ripping him today.
We have made a complete hash of this.
So
I mean Aaron.
So yes. Yeah, always. So her chromosomes are both XY and XX.
As far as we know.
As far as testing has shown. She has lady bits. She's completely lady. But yet has mixed chromosomes. Okay? So that sums it up.
Which falls under the official definition of intersex, which is what Tombstone and I were saying.
Yes. So the question is should she be able to participate in female sports without reducing her testosterone? Jeff says,
well, I mean, if she's meeting the testosterone levels, it seems that she should be allowed to compete, but
which is the issue. She was told that she had to reduce those levels.
So I guess the question is, granting all this to be fact, then you got to decide if you want to compete with lower than natural T levels.
Yeah,
that's a hard no from me. Although her T is probably higher than mine.
And that's not an insult to her. That's an insult to himself, I'm sure. But
yeah, wow,
it wasn't an insult. It's a statement of fact.
But see, you make a very good point, Tombstone. Because do we want to be? Because in one side, we're arguing that this whole transgender thing, these people are manipulating the natural order of things and trying to defy what's natural. And then on the other side, then to tell her to lower her T levels is to defy what's natural for her.
Well, I mean, look at these dudes across the country winning female track meets.
Let me say this. I think it's a sad state that we're to the point where we're so confused about what a man and a woman is that we're having arguments on measures of T levels naturally occurring or otherwise for the sport.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but sports are highly regulated, and that's
I understand that because that's the other side of it is they're looking for human growth hormone. They're looking for any kind of cheating. So I understand that they're looking for cheating, but I don't know. It's a very interesting conundrum. How do we get on this?
I don't know. Aaron, what's our next thing?
Let's bounce over to Luis Rio Frio.
Is
this time travel?
Sounds like a chip.
Can we just travel back in time and forget this last segment happened?
We could. And if I can't say anything about it because anyways, I can't. I almost gave a
spoiler alert.
Spoiler, and I'm not going to.
How long are we going to hold off on the spoilers?
Can you hold off until I'm going to try and see it this week?
You better. You better.
Tombstone hasn't seen it yet. We're definitely holding off on the spoilers then.
Yep. I've promised people that I would not give spoilers. Okay, so Louisa, I think.
Dude,
where is this article?
Rio Frio.
Rio Frio.
Is it Louise? Okay.
Yes.
Louise Rio Frio. She is involved in a project to put an atomic clock in the space station, in the International Space Station. What she's trying to do is prove that the speed of light is changing, which completely debunks Einstein's theory of the light is a constant, which has been the I don't want to call it theory. Well, yeah, it's been the theory for over 100 years now that light is a constant. And you guys remember his thought experiment, right? Of the bus driving away from the clock, and that the faster the bus drove.
I'm impressed that you actually know something about this, so break it down for me.
The faster the bus drove, the slower the clock would appear to tick.
Right.
Okay? Because you're going faster away from it. But so then you stop. Say you stop. And then you speed back towards the clock. Okay?
It would go faster.
It would go faster. Because
theoretically, just because of the amount of time that. But time. Oh my goodness! I've already broken my brain. But that's only relative to the clock, though.
Yes, it is.
This is all about relativity, right?
Yes. So, anyway, so
throw it out there.
It assumes that time is light is a constant,
right?
Because if light is not a constant, then this experiment doesn't necessarily work. Well, the fact is,
the bus experiment.
That's not an experiment. The bus doesn't work. Which now this woman is trying to prove. Louise Rio Frio is trying to prove that Einstein's wrong, and that the speed of light. Riofrio? It may be.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Why?
I don't know.
Because until I actually looked at the article, I thought it was like 3 separate names: Louise, Rio, Frio, and I was confused as what you guys are talking about. Sorry.
So she's
Aaron always struggles with them foreign last names.
I do. So she's basing her analysis on lasers that we've bounced off reflectors on the moon left by astronauts. Because remember, we went to the moon.
We did.
More proof.
Anyways, it appears to show that the moon is moving too fast. But when she compares it to various experiments on Earth, using fossils and observations of ancient eclipses, computer simulations, she found that the moon was actually moving too slowly. It led her to believe that the speed of laser light slowing had caused the moon to appear to be moving faster. And we're talking literally, thousandths upon thousandths of a second here. Okay?
Now, when you say too fast or too slow, based on what, its known orbit or what?
I believe so. I believe it's based on the known orbit. That is moving too fast or too slow. So the lasers were showing that the moon was traveling. The lasers were traveling slower, so the moon was traveling faster. She claimed that it could be of significance when it comes to time travel. Of course, that is a huge jump from light, not being a constant to time travel. But, whatever gets a click on the article, right, guys? Right.
Well, it's because the reason that time travel got brought up in this article is because of this statement by her. So,
yes.
Then she claimed this could be of huge significance when it comes to time travel. One thing, so this is a quote, one thing this says is that we can certainly move forward in time and that we can also change the rate we move forward in time, Louise told Blake Cousins of YouTube channel Third Phase of Moon, whatever that is. As for moving backwards in time, if that's ever possible, no equations like this will ever find out that.
That's a terrible. Yeah, that's a terrible.
This is a terrible article all around, Aaron.
Well, of course it is, because it's from the Star. Of course it is, because it's from the Star. But I can tell you, anyways, it's fascinating. If she is right, okay, and she has just crashed Einstein's theories into the abyss, it's fascinating because that honestly it changes all what we know about physics, about theoretical physics and spatial physics, astrophysics, and it changes everything.
I don't know, Matt. The next article beneath this one is more from the Daily Star. Half human, half animal, 7-foot beast leaves residents terrified after savaging 2 dogs, and it's like a clearly doctored photo of a.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I don't know what.
This is. She does have a book, by the way, just so you guys can be put at ease. It's
I'm
free.
Definitely not going to order it.
It's free on Kindle. It's free, Tombstone. You can get it for free.
No.
It's titled The Speed of Light. Anyways, I think it's interesting because it's
who at the beginning of this show, before we came on air, alleged that we had gotten away from our high lofty goals that we had started with.
Oh no, that wasn't off the air. That was on the air.
Was it on the air?
That was you.
Was that statement?
No, that was Tombstone. Actually, that was
Tombstone. Oh, it was Tombstone. Okay, I was thinking it was Mathis for a second, and I was going to say you cannot allege that, and you are basically turning us into like the national
British tabloids are stock and trade. That's just the way it is.
The point being, though, guys, it is not just the tabloid that is covering this. Okay.
Can I snap my fingers and make half this episode disappear?
No, you can't. Not like. What is it called? Infinity War. There you go.
Yes.
No, you can't. You can't do that. Sorry, man. Anyways, interesting. It's something that obviously needs to be looked into. Because it has huge implications, guys, for science. And so I found that fascinating.
That part is fast. I will give you that. If the speed of light can change.
Yes.
That part is fascinating.
All source and everything aside. The fact that
that fascinating detail is buried in a whole bunch
she's got a book out. She's talked about it on, her Facebook page. She's talked about it in numerous other places. I would like to see this corroborated somewhere else. The challenge is that it's such a young topic right now that it has not been substantiated yet.
Buy a laser, shoot it at the moon.
Right.
How hard can that be? Amazon exists.
For some reason, I don't know if that'll work. She's pretty smart. At least it seems to think. I seem to think.
Did you hear that sentence
smart.
I read?
Listen. She seems to think that she can solve the dark energy problem. That's huge when it comes to...
Are we still talking about this?
Yes. This is huge when it comes to science.
I'm watching his eyes. He has moved on to 3 different articles. He's not even acknowledging your presence anymore.
I don't even know. I'm out of clever things to say about
you guys
this.
Just deny science. That's all this is. You guys hate science. You hate me. I'm out.
Smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa.
That was a non-gendered person, Ken, and you just gave it a gender.
I tried this one chili that set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
All right, leave this guy alone with his poor constipated poops. We're going to come back, talk about politics. That's what really matters here.
All right, so we're back on the Front Porch Show. You can find us at thefrontporchshow.com or Facebook/MyFrontPorch.
Jeff,
I think that's what it is.
Enthusiasm.
I'm enthusiastic because we just chased off. I mean, we just made Mathis storm off. The show is ours for a moment. And I just got to ask, so is the laundry washed now, Tombstone? Because I see that the rain has kind of subsided.
It's clean. It's clean. It's really clean, yeah.
It's on the line
rinsed.
behind you.
It's been washed and rinsed. I'm not going to turn around because I can't talk to the microphone if I do that. Here we go.
Now I did. Look at this.
It is clean and it is very wet because it rained a lot.
Yeah, and thankfully you avoided the spin cycle of a tornado or anything like that. But,
that's right. We did get kind of a beating action going on with the hail, though.
Now, I was going to ask, because we talked about this earlier, and you were mentioning that you're just too cheap to use your dryer. That's why it's out on the line. Do you also, is there like a wash tub with a washboard out there on the deck, or do you at least pay to use the wash machine?
No, we do use the washing machine.
Okay, so your wife didn't cave on that.
And since we have two small children, we'd use it a lot.
Oh, I'm sure. Are you doing the cloth diaper thing?
Not right now because life is short and we have two children. We're in the middle of potty training the oldest one.
I was going to say the cost trade-off versus the time trade-off with the cloth diapers. That's one I haven't contemplated yet because we don't have kids yet. So
right, that you know of.
Well, I have no idea what direction the show is going to go in now because we've chased off Mathis with our.
Can we talk about? Andrew Yang again?
Why do you want to talk about him?
See, I'm concerned when you want to talk about Andrew Yang.
Because he's interesting.
What did he do this time?
Well, he did.
I thought we weren't going to talk about political people running this week.
No, we're going to talk about Andrew Yang every single week until the election.
I'm worried. I think I see the corner of an Andrew Yang poster behind the tombstone there.
Right next to the hammer and
it.
sickle.
Oh gosh,
he probably has one of those just for his military. Like he's got a lot of historic.
Let's not talk about the flags. Let's not talk about the flags I have tacked up in my garage.
Sensitive issue for you.
The sensitive issue for the rest of the world.
Sensitive issue for Jeff.
Where are we at? Yeah, guys, leave me out of this.
I am looking for the fundraiser video that I had because he made a May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. If you have a lisp.
May the 4th be with you. All the Star Wars people are out.
He made
in force today. No pun intended. Or
Buddy wore his Star Wars shirt. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he made a video, and I can't find the video. I don't know if they took it down or what, because it was kind of funny. It was really dorky. The only reason I want to talk about it is because I think it's hilarious that he's letting his freak nerd flag fly. I think it's just really cute. All right, talk about one more thing in presidential politics, then we can let it go. Joe Rogan, the godfather of podcasting, has endorsed Tulsi Gabbard. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
I mean, his reason for endorsing her was like,
I met her. She's cool.
And she's cool.
And I just smoked a bowl.
Right, but I mean, what else do you need?
So I mean,
I think there's actually Joe Rogan's not a stupid man. I'm sure there's actually more to it than that.
Probably.
What's
interesting is how will that affect voters? How many people that listen to him will that affect?
Aaron, how many? Doesn't he get like 2 million?
He gets an awful lot of listens every week.
He gets a lot of listens.
Something stupid like that.
Well, every show.
It's a non-trivial number.
How many shows does he do?
He does
like
week?
4 or 5 shows a week, I think.
I guess I didn't realize that podcasting was his full-time job.
Yeah,
we are approaching him in listens.
Close, but not quite a million.
We're slowly
not quite a million.
We're closing the gap, as they say.
We're greater than 0, but not quite a million.
So I guess what I'm driving at is, and
and his listens were T levels, his would be like the girl in the previous story, and ours would be like Tombstone.
He'd be like a Russian athlete.
I'm shutting it down. I'm done for today. Just kill me now.
Sorry, Tombstone.
So I have no opinion on it. Gabbard is Gabbard wants free college. She's typical Democrat.
Does she?
Yeah.
They all do.
Gun control.
I think Trump wants free college too.
Well,
maybe
I can
knows?
go there based on some other things I've been listening to. If this is the way we want to go with this, I'll throw this question at you guys.
Let me make a meta point, and then we can get in the weeds. Hold that thought, Jeff. I'm sorry.
This was not in the weeds, but okay.
You're in the you're always in the weeds, Jeff. We know this.
Jeff Rogan always in the weed.
I guess that was unacceptable.
I can't.
So
where's your meta point?
Totally
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
The point is, Joe Rogan is like, I wouldn't say he's a normie. He has normie aspects. But she's been actively kept off mainstream media in favor of Joe, I'm behind you, America, Biden. And but I think she has a potential very wide appeal. I'll tell you why. The reason I keep talking about Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard is because they're the only two people in the Democratic slate that are actually interesting, right? Because I don't care quite as much about policies as much as somebody is interesting, just from a cultural perspective. But they're part of the reason.
So why didn't you vote for Donald Trump?
Bernie's interesting.
Donald Trump is immensely interesting. But remember, my opinion of Trump has changed. My opinion of where we are in the Republic timeline has changed. Anyways, but the reason they're interesting is because they're diverging from orthodoxy on the left and progressivism. That's why they're interesting. That's all I wanted to say. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Now I got to remember what I was going to say.
That's okay.
I was going to throw at you because you brought up the free college thing. You brought up the free college thing based on some other stuff I've been listening to this week. So in all practicality, because you see a lot of people now, you see the older generation saying, "Oh, these kids want us to pay off their free college," with national, in opposition to these plans. And trust me, I'm not for just paying off these college loans. I have a lot of college loans, so I'm not speaking as some privileged person.
As a guy who just paid off his, I don't support paying off yours right now.
Did you really?
But
yeah. I'm done.
Wow.
Right? I think,
do you know what it?
Oh, maybe a month.
But you still don't have a
month. Alyssa says a month.
A month.
You still don't have a degree.
I still don't have a piece of paper to hang up on the wall like everyone else.
So that's a problem.
I haven't looked at my piece of paper in about 6 years. So
because at least I have 2 degrees, but I'm still paying off one because the other one was free because of my job. But anyway, the point being, so you got people saying like, why should we pay this off? And I'm not for paying off the student loans, but you look at with all the other entitlements that these other generations have had, whether it's a heavily subsidized industry, whether it is, unfortunately, because what they've done to it, we are paying into Social Security, and we're never going to get a dime of Social Security.
No, I think we will. It'll just be inflated.
Well, they'll just keep printing money. So what's it matter then? But if that's the case,
new monetary theory.
If that's the case, what's it matter if we pay off the student loan debt?
Well, Jeff, honestly, that's exactly the argument the Democrats are making.
I know that's the scary thing, and it's going to get them votes.
But that's essentially what modern monetary theory is, and I'm probably grossly oversimplifying because we could get into the weeds on this, but I'm not prepared to do it today because I want to be smart. But it's basically saying the monetary supply is merely a tool to provide a reasonable standard of living and amenities to the population, so there's no harm in abusing it, contrary to traditional / Austrian economics, because at the end of the day, as long as people are happy and are well taken care of, that's all that matters.
And that's where we're at.
The problem is
where we're at.
That is where we're at. The problem is, I'll tell you why I think that is primarily. Obviously, out here in regular land, we're all still chained to our regular income, and the higher inflation works against you if you have a long-term asset that you're paying on, whether that be education or a house. My mortgage is $800 a month. Right now, that's about 20. That's 20. Pardon me. That's 30% of my income. My 30% of my take home, I should say. But in 15 years, just with inflation, and provided I get moderate increases in pay, it'll only be 10% of my income. So, I'm fudging those numbers, but you know what I'm saying.
No, it makes so
inflation.
Sense.
I guess what I'm saying is inflation works against savers, and it
in
works
favor of those with using credit.
in favor of those who are not savers. I don't have like a derogatory term for those people. I don't think they need it. It's just,
it's just different.
Those
different
who are more
people
trapped
with
in the
different
now.
Thoughts.
Right. So, of course, you don't want to be saving large amounts of cash anyways. You want to invest it for a host of reasons, but that's a whole different story. And I mean, I don't think inflation is necessarily bad. Of course, inflation is not really the problem. It's all the unfunded liabilities that are the problem. So yeah, we could just like the Yang Bucks, if we, nip and tuck a little bit here, we could probably pay for Yang Bucks. Now, how much good it's going to do, I don't know. But with a little bit of nip and tuck, we could probably afford education. The problem is, here's the real issue. Aside from the money, education is already pretty crappy. So even higher education, and part of the reason for that is lower education, primary and secondary education is crappy. So from a purely public education is a given and we should keep doing it perspective, it makes sense to nationalize public education because it's becoming, or college, because it's becoming part of the normal public education, or could become part of the normal public education life cycle. Does that make sense? Like, we already take for granted that elementary school and secondary school are publicly funded. Why not another 4 years? Why not? It's an investment. That's what they always say. It's an investment, which, whatever. But then you're really looking at a whole host of issues of democratization of education.
Yeah, that
we're not ready. We're not ready to. I'll be really honest with you. Part of the reason we're having this conversation is because as a country, we're not ready to have a lot of other conversations about public education. But I think it's the same. I think it's the same cultural aspect.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit.
If it's a given, and I know you and I know this, but if it's a given, you have to have college to be successful. Just like it's a given, you have to graduate from high school to be successful.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Then if the government's paying for high school, why aren't they paying for college? And that also goes back to the extension of adolescence into your early 20s.
And see, that also sounds like the unfortunate mindset we're in, where, because you mentioned nationalized. Even public school isn't nationalized right now. It's local, it's state.
No, it's not.
Right.
Because you've got the.
I know you've got the Common Core standards and stuff, but it is funded locally and state-wise.
Department of Ed.
It's primarily funded by the Department of Education.
Department of Education means that,
or I should say, it's driven.
You're right.
Department of Education.
You're right. It's driven by the Department of Education. It came about as more of a local and state institution.
You guys know the Department of Education did not exist until the 70s.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That was a Nixon, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I'm not going to pretend to know which president.
I don't exactly know how it was handled before that, because obviously that wasn't the beginning of public education in this country.
It was local and state.
No, that's what I'm saying. The origins of public education were local, like many things in this country.
I'm tracking.
But we've drifted to everything has to be federal, so I can force it to go my way because I don't like how it is here locally or in my state. So as we've abandoned federalism in every possible way, you're right. Then we end up at that conclusion, that mindset that primary and secondary education is nationalized, so nationalize the colleges. It really needs to go the other way. It really all needs to go.
It was a Jimmy Carter.
Shocking.
Yeah, see, that's
shocking.
Right.
Absolutely shocking.
Yes.
All right, let me
but
pivot a little bit.
It does sound like something Nixon would have done, because Nixon did a lot of stuff like that.
Let me pivot a little bit. You brought up the Yang Bucks. Did you see? Was it Gillibrand this last week? Which one was it? Which one of these other more obscure Democrats that is saying they want to give $600 to every citizen to donate to the political cause of their choice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Gillibrand? Was I right on that one?
I forget who it was.
I did actually. I do remember this now, though. I do remember what you're talking about. I think it was Gillibrand.
I gotta know now. Here,
this has been something that's been pushed around though for a while. This is not new.
Yeah. Proposes giving every voter $600 to give to campaigns. So I thought the Democrats always ran on, even though they're the party of, it seems to be of big money in elections, they always run on get the money out of elections.
Yeah, funny how that works.
But she is suggesting every voter gets given $600 to donate to federal election campaigns.
The idea is that we eliminate all of the
other
giving. So PACs and everything get completely eliminated. The idea is they want to remove industry and special interests out of politics.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree. But the problem, hold on. I didn't say this was a good idea. Okay? I have a big issue when someone like Apple can go in, convince all the lawmakers to make tax law in their favor, and they pay absolutely nothing in taxes. I've got big issues with that. Jeff, you and I can't go to Washington and do that. There's no way the people can get together.
You could, but that would be your full-time job.
It'd be impossible for us to do that. Whereas Apple pays millions upon millions upon millions of dollars a year to save their billions and trillions of dollars.
Money well
literally.
spent.
Money well spent for them, but honestly, guys, it screws the rest of us. But
how does
a point of
Amazon
interest,
paying less taxes screw you?
ooh,
it all comes back downhill to us.
No.
Yeah.
How does
Aaron, Jeff? I think it has less to do with the dollars and a lot more to do with perceived power. But
Yes,
but here's
I
the thing
understand
that really also goes back to how tax code is written. If you show a loss, if you're constantly investing profit back in the business and you show a loss, you don't pay taxes. Everybody Amazon employs is paying taxes as long as they're reinvesting back in the business and people get paid. Taxes are still being paid on that money. It's not like that money's going into a black hole. I feel kind of icky having made such a purist libertarian argument.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that to an extent.
And no, the purest libertarian argument would be taxation is theft. That would just be the whole argument.
Also a good point.
My biggest issue, though, guys, is that special interests have a very unreasonable hold on government right now.
That I don't disagree. There is a lot of money being sloshed around up there on the hill.
Okay.
And
one other thing. Amazon is not keeping any cash. This goes for Apple and Google. They're not keeping any cash, or at least not a large amount of cash here in the United States, because you have to pay you have to pay taxes on that.
Right.
That cash is sitting other places. Now, if you want to talk about a law that prevents that, we can talk about that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it really goes back to the tax code. It's very strange.
Basically, and I'm not just talking about income tax on the business guys. I'm talking about. Oh, come to my state. We will give you free taxes for 10 years.
Yeah.
A small business will never get afforded that. A small business like you and me and the businesses that matter would never be afforded that luxury.
Actually, that has happened. Different states. I want to say Texas, and I also want to say New York has actually offered that to smaller businesses as well.
Now, how do you propose getting a business to come to your state to benefit your state if you don't do something like that?
I look, man, figure out a way. I just have an issue with it.
So, all right. So I think it's hilarious, by the way, you've now fallen on the same side of an issue as the AOC.
No, I know.
I'm definitely going to remind you about this in a few weeks.
Oh, that's
no. But I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay. So, but I think larger than that, and when it comes to New York, especially the city, there's this experience that people had in Oregon and Portland or was it Seattle? I forget which. I literally cannot keep the Pacific Northwest straight. I'm sorry,
whatever.
Pacific Northwest
Close enough.
People. I love you. You're literally on the diagonally opposite side of the country from me, and I've never been there. But when it comes to New York and how Amazon has behaved in other cities, there's this idea that it's a detrimental effect to the local economy and way of life.
But see, I don't think
there's a lot more.
I don't think it's detrimental. I just have a problem.
Have you ever talked to somebody in Seattle about how they feel about Amazon being there? Somebody who didn't move there to work for Amazon.
No, I've never talked to them.
They hate it.
But why do they hate it? Because they don't pay their fair share in taxes? No,
it's because they've distorted the local market so badly in terms of labor and real estate. I think that's what AOC was more about than just the tax dollars.
And I understand that. I understand that aspect.
Right.
But my bigger thing is that I just don't like the idea of oh, well, you know, here's free land for Google because they want to come in and have a data center here.
I think pay to play does not really bother me that much. It really, as long as it's not actually hurting the people, it's supposedly helping.
Yeah, I'm confused because to me it just sounds like a market.
I mean, look at here
and
in,
it's a
in
player
Spartanburg.
in a market.
In Spartanburg, if the state government has the leeway to do it, which they do, then, you know, like here in Greenville, that we gave BMW a bunch of incentives way back in 1993 or whenever it was, and they have continued pouring money into that plant ever since.
Yeah, and look, I understand that.
Because Mathis pulls all these purist libertarian things on us sometimes. I mean, isn't that just the market of states trying to get how they're competing? How are you going to get this business to come here?
He has a very good point.
So my issue is that I think the problem is that the state has too much power. The state has too much power, and they are attempting. They should not have no. The state shouldn't be convincing people to come to a certain place. I don't think that's
the state, though. Who's going to keep them from doing it? The federal government
to come there.
I just don't think. I think
there's no mechanism,
man.
There's no mechanism that we would like that would prevent states from doing that.
This is actually more federalism. Like,
I agree. I'm with Jeff on this one.
You have states that have different tax laws and different ideas, and this business looks over there and goes,
no.
well, gosh, the taxes are better over there.
No.
And they'll throw in a kicker for me.
You're not hearing me, Jeff. You are not hearing me, Jeff.
I'm hearing you.
No, you're not.
Restrictions.
No, you're not.
Okay, hang on. Aaron,
wait.
Please clarify what you think Jeff is not getting.
Okay, Jeff, I'm not talking about different states having different taxes, okay? I'm fine with that. What I'm not okay with is that when New York City says, okay, you know, XYZ company, I want you to come here. I'm going to give you for the next 15 years 0 taxes.
Why can't they do that?
I don't think it's right. I just don't think it's right.
I think literally every state does that.
I know, but I don't think it's right.
But what I'm trying to see the moral or political or what is not right about it. There's obviously not a law against it, so it's not legally not right. As a small business owner, just listen. Hold on. As a small business owner, I am screwed every year, literally. Okay. So I run Jeff's lawnmower parts.
Yeah, okay.
And I have to charge shipping on my items because I can't afford to give people free shipping. I don't think it's fair that Amazon can offer free shipping if you have Prime.
Yeah, but that's not free. They're paying for it one way or another.
No, that's my point. Like, I don't understand.
That's not the government, though.
Your argument is it's not fair that somebody else gets something I don't get.
No, it's the government.
Tombstone. Is that not his argument? It's not fair that
the government handout, Jeff. You are advocating a government handout to these businesses.
It's not a government
handout. But we have to have this conversation though. Is a tax break a handout? Because I don't think that's a good argument. I don't think that's a good argument at all.
Getting relief, not having to pay more taxes that we might argue shouldn't be there in the first place, depending on the tax.
Exactly.
It
shouldn't be there in the first place.
Aaron is annoyed by the capriciousness. Aaron is annoyed by the capriciousness of the situation.
That he can't get out of taxes he doesn't like and someone else can.
Dang straight.
His business doesn't bring the economic impact that a bigger business would.
My business brings the same economic impact per person that they could.
So that is an argument. I don't think you're correct on that.
No.
I don't think you're correct on that.
Here's the deal. You know why they do it?
Because businesses are all about scale. The bigger you are, the bigger the impact, proportionally speaking.
I understand that, guys. I understand.
If I can get some big business to come here, and I can cut them a deal in the short term.
Aaron just wanted to have a good mad today.
If that company does well, then I can bank on them later. That's why they do that. That's why they do it for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or whatever.
I think it's.
And I think Tombstone's right too. It can be offered to. It has been offered to smaller businesses at times. Some communities that are desperate to get growth in will offer it to any business that comes in. The length of time might not be the same sweet deal that Amazon got in New York, but it's part of their businesses. Any new business gets X amount of years of taxes deferred or whatever to help the business grow initially. I've seen that in in different economic development plans.
I'm all for the free market. You guys know that. I'm all for the free market. The problem is that when the government starts pulling things like this, they are not helping. Look, they're helping a big business over a small business. Okay?
But when the market is choosing which state to put your business in, the state legislatures are the act. You see what I'm saying?
Like, that's not the market. That's the state.
But that is the market. Like, the market is which state am I going to put my business in, and the actors in the market are the business owners and the state legislatures.
The free market.
Those are the actors in that market.
I don't see that as free market.
Who's the free market in deciding which state to get into?
I think the free market would be the workforce, the best workforce. I think it would be the best location. I think it would be.
So what you're saying is, if there were no laws, if there were no state governments, then I could just go to wherever the best workforce was, or whatever.
Would kind of be optimal now, wouldn't it be, Jeff?
No, because that sounds a lot like anarchy.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I don't even know how we got down this road. I'm just saying. I really do not. It feels like the government is propping up. It feels like the government's propping up big business.
I understand the frustrations of people, and this is how we got off on this.
I need to actually
say the big money in politics, and I understand that.
I need to contribute something in Aaron's favor.
Let me finish this thought.
Yeah.
So I understand the concerns with big money in politics, and I understand the concerns with some of these huge businesses getting cut these sweetheart deals. But unfortunately, most of the argument I see against it is not, well, the taxes there are already insane, so that's why they're having to cut these sweetheart deals or anything like that. The argument I see is it's not fair. They're not paying their fair share. That's what about 75% of your argument against it has been, Mathis, and that's just my frustration, is when the argument is they're not paying their fair share, or I can't get out of it too, so make them pay it as well. Those two arguments just don't sit well with me.
But that's not my argument, and I don't agree that that's my argument.
I don't know. That's what I'm hearing is your argument.
So hold on. Let's let Tombstone defend me real quick.
All right, here we go.
And then I've got a couple more thoughts.
I can say. I can point to some really good instances of governments giving tax breaks to attract industry, and there's also been some really bad episodes as well. The McAuliffe government in Virginia is still, I think they're still being investigated over a couple of shady deals they did with Chinese companies to bring in jobs to different smaller towns there in Northern Virginia. So, like, pretty significant corruption involved somewhere. Not sure where. So I don't know. Aaron, I think I'll be on this is my doomer take on things. Right now, we are past the point of linear predictions of what happens when you start throwing this much money and this many people around, and everybody's trying to hack it the best they can. So states got to do what states got to do to keep some money going on, as all this financial and human capital is fleeing to the coasts in Texas, because those are the places everybody goes. Then you do what you got to do to get by.
I just see it as a political slush fund, essentially. So
I don't think that's a good. I don't think it's a good way to say it.
Not a good term. No.
Just listen. Hold on. Let me explain this. You have these businesses who they get these tax breaks, right? All of a sudden, Joe Smith running for Congress from that state, who got them the tax break to begin with, is running for Congress. Who donates all the money to his PAC? Who donates $1 million to get the socialist weenie elected?
Yeah, but PACs aren't controlled by the candidate.
I understand that, and you know that.
And it's probably not a socialist weenie that's given the tax break.
Now that is no. What they are though. They are. Look at New York.
I guess, Aaron. I guess the problem is
your problem still lies with the money in the elections, not the company getting the tax break.
Aaron, this is the thing. This is a zero-sum game. If there is a business that needs to put their huge amount of human and financial capital somewhere, and you have to compete with 50 other states that are doing whatever it takes, and you have to do whatever it takes. That's just part of the system.
Then lower the taxes for everyone.
And like I've said, there's no way to get around it. Yeah, but eventually Amazon is going to be paying whatever the normal rate is. They can't get breaks forever.
So what you guys are doing though What you guys are suggesting is the death of small business, the death to entrepreneurs, because we can't compete. There is no way to compete.
I think this is a second or third order effect of the way money's already moving.
There's no way to compete.
I think this is a survival. It's a survival mechanism. This is not how things got this way. This is a second order effect of the way things already are.
I think Tombstone's thinking along the right lines. There is, it's not. Again, it's a
survival.
Down.
This is a survival mechanism. This is not a policy mechanism.
But and I agree with you on this. I agree with you to that point that this is not what has caused the issue. The issue is overreaching government. If the government was smaller and the government weren't overregulating everything,
right,
then we would not have this issue where we have to convince people to come to our states.
But I think,
it's a problem with state governments. It's a problem with the federal government.
I think your problems lie with the reach of regulation on businesses and the money in politics. To me, that's not a state tax break issue or a local tax break issue. That's other issues, like you said, second and third order effects.
I mean, you guys have heard my theory anyways on big business. I think big business is propped up by government anyways. You know, people like Amazon and Apple and Google and look, I use them every day. I use their services every day.
I was going to say, Mr. 14 Alexa's in his house.
I use their services every day. But most of the situation is that I think they are propped up by the government with extra tax breaks.
Would you be in favor for trust busting action against Amazon?
5 years ago, I probably would have said no. 5 years ago, I would have said no. The problem is, Tombstone, we have created a monster. The government has created a monster. They have created it to. They have placed regulations to where only the rich businesses can bypass the regulations.
See, okay, now you're actually speaking more to me with some of those statements.
That's my bigger issue. My bigger issue is that because I can't compete against another company who all of a sudden, say when the state comes in and they say for my business I have to pay $100,000 for data protection.
Okay. Can I give you the rationale for Yangism? I'm just gonna pivot on it.
Yeah, go for it.
The rationale for Yangism is that the big money cat is already out of the small government bag, and we can't put it back in. So you have to mediate the massive social and societal upheaval that's getting ready to come down the pike.
I know.
See, I think.
Anyways,
it's a Band-Aid in the dike. It's a finger in the dike.
You're talking now, Mathis, is starting to sound like I've read on and off, but I haven't been consistently reading it. A book called The Progressive Era that's a compilation of essays of Murray Rothbard's. And he's discussing from the railroad point of view how basically all the antitrust legislation, all the anti-monopoly legislation was actually funded by these railroads that were trying to create monopolies to keep other people from entering the market. Like, in other words, it's all a game between big business and big government to keep other people from entering the market.
And honestly, as a business owner, that's how I feel.
But see, that's talking about licensing and regulation.
Yes.
That's not the tax break issue.
I know, but I also think it's the same issue. I think it's the same issue.
Because they both hurt you. But to me, a pure, I'm a state, I'm a city, and I decide to cut taxes for a period of time
for one person,
a certain business that wants to come in because I want them here.
Okay, Jeff. Jeff, what's wrong with the progressive tax system then?
I see. No.
What? No, listen. What's wrong with the progressive tax system?
Choosing to do that. I see that more as like a store giving a bulk discount to some big purchaser. You are trying to appease, you are trying to reward or gain a large benefit from someone. And so you cut something that, when I go into a store, I can't get that bulk discount because I'm not buying that in bulk or whatever it is. It's a tough analogy, but in a pure between the city and the business or the state and the business.
We're talking a free market versus government. Government is not free market.
But we do have a market of states. We absolutely have a market of states.
The market of states to put your business in a state means that the two actors in that market are not a person and a business. They are a business and the state. The state has to be an actor in that market.
That's why I say it's a zero-sum game.
Back to my other
under
argument.
the federal constitutional government, even if it was running exactly the way the founders intended, that's the market.
So what's wrong with a progressive tax then?
This doesn't have anything to do with the progressive
It
tax.
does. It does moderately. So you have government picking and choosing who they can tax and what rates they can tax them at. What's wrong with a progressive income tax? On, say, you don't make X amount, you don't pay any taxes.
Income tax is a self-defeating thing because
of course it is.
It discourages earning.
All taxes are self-defeating, Jeff.
Some sort of
that's
tax
not
would
true.
be much better.
That's not true. Corporate taxes are a legitimate function of the state.
I disagree with you on that one, big time.
Ooh,
well, how else are you supposed to have a state?
I don't believe that corporations should have taxes.
Because here's the other funny thing. You probably are hardcore against tariffs because they mess up the market, right?
I am big against tariffs.
Okay,
well,
but you know how everyone talks about
options.
You know how everyone talks about before we didn't have any income tax and we operated just fine and had a military.
I know.
Guess how we paid for it?
So
import taxes or tariffs. So we either tax the imports or we tax
Jeff,
the income.
hold on. As it stands now, I am opposed to tariffs. Because we've got income tax, because we've got property tax, because we've got corporate tax, because we've got every other excess tax. If we had to get rid of the income tax and trade it for tariffs, I'd do it instantaneously.
Okay.
Instantaneously.
I just wanted to check for that logical consistency.
Excess taxes and tariffs, I think are the only two ways. I'm also okay with a national sales tax. I am not okay with an income tax, and I'm not okay with.
I think that would be a better way to go than a income tax.
But I don't think that a national income tax should be charged on things like food.
A sales tax?
I don't believe a national sales tax should be charged on food.
Just spitballing because I'm not totally a policy wonk.
Does that include Monster Energy drinks?
That's not a food. That's sugar, straight sugar.
It has nutritional value.
I don't know about that.
So does cardboard, but you know.
As I was saying, like I said, my proposed national sales tax would be something like that. It would exclude staple food items. It would exclude homes under a certain value, and it would exclude vehicles, either like maybe a first and second vehicle for a family, or exclude vehicles older than a certain year. Or under a certain value. So in other words, it literally affects none of the staple items that you need to survive. So the lower class is not affected by it at all.
I agree.
So and then a national sales tax is not going to. People aren't going to be hiding money in the Caymans or whatever, because they're going to want to keep their money here because they're not getting taxed on it, and then they will spend it.
And then all of a sudden, taxes are being used for good. They're being used to support the government in a good way.
That's my theory on how I would probably do a national tax and get rid of income tax. But I mean, it's not where we're at, unfortunately.
I know.
And we've wandered some crazy places here, but I still think you're a little bit conflating the tax breaks given to get a company to come in with the money in politics and in other issues that I do agree with you on.
I can't get behind it. As a business owner, I can't get behind another business getting, preferential treatment. I just can't do it, man.
Get behind somebody getting what I don't have. Those words scare me because that is the socialist Marxist idea.
Those were not the words that were coming out of my mouth. Don't do it.
You literally just said another business getting what I can't get. You literally just said it. Now I'm storming off.
Unemployment is low because everyone has two jobs.
She got them realtor eyes.
We're going to flip this seat red in November.
I can always tell by realtor eyes. She got them.
I think she's living in banana land.
I am not the expert on geopolitics.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being
precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
How are you the boss for coming up with a plan that doesn't work?
Is it okay to still have children?
I personally believe some people out there in our nation don't have that, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and
we're
Still
back.
One of my favorites.
We might be accused of that last segment of sounding exactly like all of that. I don't know. If Tombstone had his way, the last segment wouldn't have happened.
Jeff, I apologize if I got too animated during that last segment.
I have not had a good angry debate with someone, or not angry because that wouldn't make it a good debate. I haven't had a good debate with someone in a long time.
So honestly,
it felt good.
This is what probably one of my biggest issues, like political. One of my biggest political things that I rail about. I absolutely hate the government picking a winner or a loser, and I feel as a business owner that that's really where they're going with that, and that's my biggest thing, man. You know, and yeah, it's just yeah. You know,
I'll give it to you. I disagree a little bit, but
I understand you disagree, and that's fine. That's fine.
Now,
I'm okay with that.
I think we have something next that we can all get riled up about, and we will all agree on.
Alabama State Representative John Rogers.
I warned you, get the caw button ready just in case, because this one makes me livid.
Here we go. We're going to hear straight from John Rogers' mouth right here.
All I'm saying to you, it ought to be a woman's choice. I'm not about to be, as a male, tell a woman what to do with her body. She has the right to make that decision herself. To rape or incest. Some kids are unwanted. So you kill them now, kill them later. You bring them in the world unwanted, unloved. Then you send them to the electric chair. So you kill them now, kill them later. But the bottom line is that I think we should be making this decision.
Wow. Did he really just say what I think I heard him say?
Yes. This is Alabama State Representative John Rogers, who literally says, so this is over House Bill 314 in Alabama, which would make abortion a felony for doctors with a sentence of up to 99 years in prison.
Right.
And
so
it's my understanding it's not for the woman, it's just for the doctor.
Yes, that's correct.
And he is in open session standing up, opposing it.
Wow,
he's a Democrat.
Of course he's opposing it.
Now, first off, let me say this is just the state of politics in our country, no matter what side you're on. You guys heard all the chaos in the background. It's open session, and we see this, right? Sometimes if you ever happen to accidentally, in error, stumble across C-SPAN, you see that, like, when there's an open session, and, you know, we see these clips on Facebook of, you know, your favorite senator that you followed giving this dramatic speech, and it's zoomed in on him, so you don't see that half the chamber is empty, and the other half is, like, lounging around talking about, like, the first round of the Masters or March Madness or whatever. Like no one's paying attention to what the person talking for 20 minutes is doing. Okay?
Right.
This is like amplified in this Alabama House of Representatives because it's a small room. Most of the people seem to be there. It looks pretty full. Everyone is just milling around, and I don't think a single person in the room is paying this guy any attention.
Except for the camera.
Except for the camera.
Except for the camera.
Well, because the camera has to be, right? Because they probably broadcast this stuff. But so I don't know if that's a good thing because they don't take this guy seriously, or if it's a bad thing because look at what this guy is saying, and no one is even like paying attention and actually having the debate on this. And I'm kind of thankful this guy has said this because let's just get this out in the open. Okay, and again, I'm borrowing from other things I've listened to and heard, but because I forgot about this slogan. But do you guys remember what one of the slogans of Planned Parenthood used to be?
No, what is it?
Every child, a wanted child.
Ugh. Wow.
And And this is it. This is it being played out right here in our politics. And we've reached a point where they're not denying it. And they still tried to take cover on us twisting their words with the Ralph Northam stuff in Virginia and the way that he spoke about the Born Alive bill there. But here it is. Kill them now or kill them later. If you're just going to bring them into the world unwanted, unloved, then you send them to an electric chair. So you kill them now or you kill them later. It's not a life. It's just a fetus. It's a woman's choice. It's you might as well kill them now because you're going to kill them later.
Which I feel obligated to point out that the state of Alabama has only executed 64 people since 1982.
That's a good number. Like that's a great.
It's still a lot of. It's still a pretty good number of people.
It's still a lot of people, but that's an
compared to many states. But still,
not
compared to the number of abortions they have.
Guys, if Alabama bans abortions, there's going to be a lot more then, right?
Oh, my goodness.
The determination of if you're a baby whose mother wants to abort it, you're obviously going to end up a criminal in the system, murdered or dead in jail,
there's a particular,
or dead in prison.
We were talking about this, but there's a particularly evil kind of determinism here, right? I don't know necessarily if, I mean, John Rogers is black. I don't know if he's particularly talking about black babies. It kind of sounds like it, but in any case, for children that are born in difficult homes, you know, there's like a really nasty kind of determinism, and I'm sure he thinks he's just being realistic, but
I think he also thinks he's being smart because he talks later in trying to defend this.
Right,
I have to find the. He thinks he's proving a point. The statement that he makes later in trying to defend this is that essentially, well, the Republicans aren't going to – they don't want to, give them benefits. They don't want to support them. They just want to dump them on the streets and kill them anyway. So why don't you just kill them now? Right. So he thinks he's making that point, and yet – but that would be the point you'd be making if you were pro-life and trying to also get support for welfare. No, he's saying literally kill them now because you're not going to pay to take care of them later anyway.
Right. And this is the same thing that I have actually seen this on both sides. It's popped up enough that makes me wonder how widespread it is. But I've seen liberals make the argument that if Republicans knew that it was primarily black babies being aborted, then they'd be somehow more okay with it, which is not true because I think anyone who knows anything about the abortion debate knows that the number of black babies aborted is way out of whack because as far as I can tell, Planned Parenthood targets those neighborhoods. Second of all, this is the same conversation we have. Yeah, this is the same kind of conversation we have about guns, which is, Republicans are for gun rights up until black men want to get a concealed carry permit, then we're against it, which is demonstrably false.
Completely false.
Well, it all stems from the whole the right is racist argument. Or my thought.
And that we're also stupid and haven't thought these things through, or that we're not really principled. It's we just want these things for convenience and white supremacy or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like it's very seditious and it's lazy for one, and it's kind of evil to put that kind of blood libel of a motivation on your political opponents. But I don't know. I honestly think this will. At the end of the day, this will actually be a good thing that he said this, because anything that drags the reality of death and abortion out into the open, that we can talk about it and put it in the light and see how awful and disgusting it is a good thing.
Tombstone, do you want to hear him speak some more? Because I've got another.
Yeah, lay it on
another. Here we go.
Yeah, so he was interviewed about
Donald Trump Jr. condemned your comments. Do you have a response to the president's son?
Hey, that's an honor. Donald Trump Jr. did that. Thank God. Right on. That's been all right. Because I don't know nothing. He's been right on since he's been here. That proved the right to make a decision about abortion. Him being born, that's proved the right to. That's a very, very good defense I have for abortion right to him. Look at him and say, why should have aborted him when he was born? He would have made that stupid statement, right? So his parents made a decision for him. That's a decision he made for him. So that's the first proof I got. Mother had a right to have abortion. They made a decision to have him, didn't they? They could have aborted him, but they made a decision to keep him because he's evidently retarded.
Right
crazy.
there.
Donald Trump's son, I know there's something wrong with that boy. I look at him, tell something wrong with him. He said, "Hey, that's the best defense I got for abortion right there. Looking at him."
Yeah.
Wow.
What in the actual unutterable words did I just listen to?
Guys.
And he stepped all over their faux pas and no-nos of, his mom should have aborted him because he's retarded. I mean, I didn't think we could use that word
I didn't know either. I mean,
as Michael Scott says, you don't call retarded people retarded. You call your friends retarded when they're acting like retards. But I mean, I don't. What did he just say? This guy is insane, and he keeps thinking that he's defending it. That is some smart comment I'm showing them, like, oh, I'm making a point about welfare and all this other stuff, and this political point about Donald Trump Jr. And all he's saying is, kill him. And I'm sorry. I don't want to be the man to tell a woman what to do with her body. I won't tell you what to do with your body. But I will tell you what to do if you're going to end the life of another person, no matter where that person is, inside your body, outside your body.
And he bets he gets reelected next term?
I don't know. Down there.
Oh, he'll definitely be reelected. I'm sure
I don't know. He's popped his head out. I don't know about that. They might play the you gave away too much, you're playing your cards too open face kind of here with him, and he might get
trying to look at
I'm trying to figure out. So he is been in office in the same district since 1982.
1982.
He's not going anywhere.
Okay. So
he's not going anywhere.
He'll get reelected. They've got that
his
one
term ends in 2022. So
he is really old. He is 78.
He may not make it through his final term.
He may retire.
So,
but this is insanity, guys. This
did make it in his Wikipedia article, by the way.
Did it? Well,
they say he employed hyperbole.
That's hyperbole.
And here's how CNN described this video.
How is that hyperbole?
Here's how CNN described this video. AL Dem on abortions, kill them now or kill them later. After passing a bill that, if signed into law, would make abortion a felony in the state, Representative John Rogers sparked controversy when he spoke out in defense of a woman's right to choose. That is how they characterize that speech.
Yeah.
He's speaking in defense of a woman's right to choose by saying, kill him now or kill him later. I'm sorry. This is my hill I'll die on. I will try to find common ground. I will try to reassess my opinions on government assistance to things, or how limited or how unlimited the government should be, or taxes, or whatever. This is murder. This is insanity. What happened to safe, legal, and rare? That was never, ever the purpose. This is just disgusting. I want to be in full-on rant mode, and I almost can't even get there because I'm just so disgusted by this.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm trying to figure out where exactly he serves.
But this fully fulfills every child a wanted child, because if it's not wanted, it's not going to be taken care of. So we might as well just get rid of it now.
Oh, it's downtown Birmingham. So yeah, there you go.
Meanwhile, yeah. Oh, and this is another person I listened to made the point. This is, if you had to pick something that was, speaking of being downtown Birmingham, if you had to pick something that was the antithesis to Letter from a Birmingham Jail, it's these statements.
Yeah, right.
It's these statements of kill him now or kill him later. They're going to end up in the electric chair. This life has no value, so you should be able to choose to get rid of it instead of every life has value.
I don't disagree.
Disgusting. And this is
depressing.
So remember how you kept asking us, are we going to reevaluate what we did last time? Are we going to vote for Trump in 2020 because he's obviously going to be the Republican nominee because he's already president and he's not stepping down? When this is the opposition, I mean, I know this isn't a presidential candidate, but when this is the party of the opposition, Trump's done a lot of things I don't like. I don't think he's a moral man. No, Michelle Bachmann or whoever said he's the most biblical president we've ever had. I don't know if we covered that last week or not.
People need to not be stupid in how they talk about Trump.
No,
right? We can deal with the reality. The reality is not that bad. It's occasionally bad, but it's not always bad.
Exactly. I am coming around to where you are, Tombstone, where we're farther down the hole than we thought we were. We're farther along in the fall of Rome than we thought we were. And I'm swinging back to the lesser of two evils argument. At this moment, I'm wavering back in that direction. I don't know what to do.
And that is a conversation at the risk of belaboring the point for poor Mathis here. That is when I talk with people about Trump, if I can guarantee how they fall on Trump based on how bad they think the situation is, because that is directly connected to the lever of where your existential fear setting is.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
I don't like any of that, but I didn't make this world. I just have to live in it.
It's a sad state of where we're at.
We're in the Trumpocalypse.
Must have been a bad batch around here because Floyd counties went crazy in the last 4 days. When I finally got down here to the house to look see what happened, the door was standing wide open. It looked like he was packing up for a yard sale when he came out. He was lying, throwing his hands, saying stuff like, I didn't do it, you know how roads do, and blaming on everybody else. He did pull a gun on me when I got back around the house because I guess he thought I was upset with him. Who steals a cheese grater? He's got the words, Lysol. He stole an empty bottle of spray. What got me the most was my soap. He stole my soap. Who steals soap?
Tweakers, man. Tweakers steal anything that's not nailed down. I have a really good friend from Greenwood. I would like to get him on sometime, talk about his experience with tweakers.
Let's do it. I think stories are great. Guys, I've got to ask you, do you guys cook?
Yes.
Do you do like the main cooking in your house? I mean, like, how does that work?
I probably cook more than my wife.
Okay.
We eat out way more than we should.
I don't cook very much.
But I cook more than my wife.
I cook my breakfast, and I grill hamburgers and hot dogs and bratwursts.
That's all you grill? You don't grill like steaks and chicken and that kind of stuff?
Grill steak when I can afford it, which is never. Thank you. Okay, Jeff. Why don't you give me a nice paper cut and pour lemon juice on it?
Frozen chicken breast, because that's mainly what I can afford.
I can afford ground beef. I'm not that poor yet.
My wife's grandmother gets us every year for Christmas, which is a genius Christmas gift. She sends all the grandkids an Omaha Steaks box.
That's awesome.
That is
that's a great idea.
That's our Christmas gift from her, and so
Aaron,
that's usually where we grill our steaks. You can send me one of those
for my Christmas present this year.
Okay, from the show,
company Christmas present. There you go.
If we're turning a profit, I'll tell you
you already sent me a microphone, so
I did.
I really owe you a Christmas present.
How's that mic working out for you, big guy?
You tell me. You're the one listening to me.
You sound sonorous. You sound like a beast.
So where did this cooking question come from?
So I'm curious. So I made a whole bunch of fried chicken last night, and I'm a little perplexed because the CDC came out with a tweet the other day, right? That says,
hang on. Do you follow the CDC on the Twitters?
I don't.
Okay.
Do you?
It'd be kind of awesome if you did. No, but I'm going there right now because I'm curious.
So this is April 26th, the CDC tweet. They tweeted, "Don't wash your chicken. Washing can spread germs from chicken to other food and utensils in the kitchen."
I mean, that is technically true.
That is technically true. Do you guys wash your chicken?
But you should wash it like way down the bottom of the sink so they don't splash other things.
But do you wash it? Do you wash your meat?
I don't know, because you cook it, so that should get rid of all the germs, right?
Right, that's what I thought.
I cut some of the fat off it, and usually it's had to sit like in a plastic bag in a bowl of water to thaw because it's frozen chicken, because we don't buy it fresh, and I forget to thaw it early enough to cook it, so it's trying to thaw it out quickly. But other than that, no, I don't wash my
I can't
chicken.
think of, like, fresh meat. When I hunt meat, I'll like deer, venison, like if I'm trying to get the hairs off, I'll run it underwater.
Well, because there's going to be hair all over it.
If there's hair. Yeah, if there's hair. But like other than that, like if I'm cutting steaks, I'm not going to cut or wash each individual steak.
No, why would you wash steak?
No.
You just have
like
wet
fresh.
steak.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, anyways, people freaked out. Anyone who doesn't wash their chicken is just nasty. Please do wash your chicken.
Wait. Is this a black people thing? I think it is. I feel like I've heard about this before.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not picking any racial sides here, Tombstone.
No. I feel like I found a Twitter. I feel like I found a Twitter. Yeah, it's a cultural thing. I feel like I found a Twitter on this a while back. Hang on.
The article does say washing meat has been a long-standing practice in many families. That's one that seems to be a non-negotiable tradition, regardless of what the government's health protection agency says.
That seems to be what it's. Oh man, CDC's being racist.
Are they stepping in it? Yeah,
I don't know. I've never really.
I'm not saying really. I'm not saying
chicken.
really racist.
Because you're going to cook it, so that's going to kill the germs. So I don't understand what washing it does. Because washing it with water is not going to wash the germs
it's not going to
off.
do anything.
So unless you're throwing your, Dawn antibacterial dish soap on it.
Right, scrubbing your chicken with soap.
You might as well just cook it. And as far as their goofy thing about it could get germs around the kitchen, wash your kitchen.
Here's an awesome tweet. The CDC tried to tell us not to wash our raw chicken because they know black people wash their chicken before we prep it. Just another way to try and kill us all. Don't listen to the BS.
That's a good tweet.
It's interesting.
Very solid tweet.
Implications.
It's interesting. I did not realize this was like a cultural thing.
Kendra says, I don't care what the CDC, ABC, NBC, BBC, whoever say. I'm still washing my raw chicken. Just bleach the surfaces afterwards, not the chicken surfaces.
Right.
That's kind of my thought, though, is because, so let's say I use a knife to cut some of the excess fat off the raw chicken before I put on the grill.
Hang on.
I then wash that knife in the sink.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
This is a great one.
Clean it up.
There are obviously no black people working at the CDC. Literally no way black folks aren't washing their chicken.
That's interesting.
I did not know it was a cultural thing.
Twitter account Black Authority. This is the CDC under President Donald Trump. Vaccinate your kids, but do not wash the grime or lining from the container off your meat. Just toss that in the pot and eat it. People who splash raw chicken juice on the utensils they eat are probably too dumb to use them already. That's not a terrible take. That's not a terrible take.
That is actually a good take.
And then another account, this looks like a white lady, says, I wash chicken, then I sterilize the sink and utensils.
Good. So good for her. Look, so there's a bunch of people saying, I'll continue to wash it and soak it in lime and salt.
There's an article from The Root. Because
is she making a margarita or a chicken?
I don't know.
I mean, Chili's does have something called margarita grilled chicken.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
there you go.
I'll continue to wash it and soak it with salt and lime juice.
Lime and the coconut.
The GIFs in these threads are glorious.
I'm just soaking it up
because they're all black people GIFs, and black people use GIFs like nobody else uses GIFs. Anyways,
Tombstone.
It's glorious. It's amazing.
That Tombstone at thefrontporchshow.com.
I get what he's saying. There's funny cultural things at play here. I'm just afraid that because of who we are and the era we're in, that the way he's saying it is going to get us in trouble at some point.
I live in the South. I love everybody.
I don't know if that helps with the current opinion of the South.
I don't think washing chicken is something we're going to have a race war over.
I don't think so either. But,
no, I don't think so either. I'm surprised you picked up on the cultural implication of that.
If you are one of my black brothers or sisters and you want to talk about my handling of this very sensitive chicken washing issue, I'll be happy to talk with you.
Seriously, no, I want to talk about it on the show. Like, if you guys, if we do, which I assume we've got enough listeners, I assume we've got someone of that culture. I want to know, do you wash your chicken?
Our listener block is not homogenous.
No, it's not. It's not.
I think it's pretty pasty, though.
It might be.
Yeah, I mean,
true. We've got Tombstone, and Tombstone,
I'm the pastemeister.
Tombstone's the pastemeister.
If he listens to us, it gets extremely pasty.
So speaking of pasty people, Kid Rock. We toyed with this segment.
Oh man,
excellent! Segue.
Man, that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Okay, so Kid Rock. Yes,
we tempted you with this.
I saw that one coming up, and I was like, I really want to see how this pans out. And then it was amazing.
That just hit me like a truck. That was awesome.
We tempted you with this article back at the beginning. So you guys remember Westford, Vermont. Ted Pelkey, excuse me.
Is this close to where you bought the truck?
It's up in the area, yes. Yes,
okay.
The nudie truck.
The nudie truck.
Yes. Ted Pelkey had a giant sculpture of a middle finger up on top of a 16-foot pole.
Technically a whole hand giving a middle finger.
Yes, a whole hand giving a middle finger to the city government for not allowing him to build a garage on his property.
By the way, are we going to put a picture of the statue in the show notes?
No, I will do a link.
Blurred.
It is uniquely American.
There, but blur it all out.
It's a uniquely American piece of art. I can say that for sure.
Ted Pelkey has become quite the celebrity, and people from all around the world are showing up taking pictures of his finger. And
statue.
Well, the statue of the finger, yes.
Of course.
And he's even got a fan club for the finger, started by a woman in Israel. That has over 1,500 followers.
What, did she just put one on the Golan Heights facing Palestine? Or like
maybe. I don't know. Maybe Syria, she's ordering one too. So apparently it's caught the eye of Kid Rock, who called up Ted Pelkey and left him a message and said, "Hey, Ted, Merry Christmas. It's Bob Ritchie, Kid Rock. Can I get a statue of my own?" And
by the way, that name, Kid Rock's like Bob Ritchie is
Bob
just like,
Ritchie. It's so white trash. It's so beautiful.
Not that the name Kid Rock is any less white trash, but
you do realize he's got a trailer on his property, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
A double wide on his property. And that's one of the houses he lives in regularly. Anyways, so he's from your neck of the woods, Jeff. Kind of.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know which way to go. Do you claim him or not?
Anyways, apparently part of his show is he'll like walk out and flipping the bird during his shows. I've never seen one of his shows. Doesn't surprise me with his
take on life.
Yes, with
his demeanor.
Yes. And so he even has the middle finger on one of his album covers. Well, he tells Pelkey, "I like your style. Thanks for getting us the info on that middle finger. I've got to have one on my property here in Nashville." So Pelkey reaches out to the artist, who agreed to make another one at the cost of $4,000. And Pelkey and his wife are going to
cheap at the price.
And Pelkey and his wife are going to go deliver it to the rock star in person. They're going to go deliver it. Yeah. And so the reporter Kat here asks, "What do you think of What do you think the drive down to Tennessee is going to be like with that on the trailer?" And Ted goes, "It probably won't be like that. It'll be covered up, I'm sure. I'm sort of excited. It's going to be fun." You think people aren't going to notice the giant middle finger sitting under a
Nah, you lay that sucker down on a trailer, put it inside a U-Haul, and you never even know it's there.
Well, I don't know. They show a picture here of it sitting up on a trailer with the straps around the middle finger
for effect. Picture for effect.
I don't know if it's for effect. I don't necessarily think it can be set over on its side, otherwise it'll break.
It just looks like a giant paper mache thing to me, honestly.
I think it's wood. I think it's carved out of wood.
I think it is because obviously it sits outside. But
yeah, I think it's carved out of wood.
It might be plaster. Who knows?
Anyways, interesting. Guys, have you ever had the opportunity to count votes?
No.
I have not, although I'm thinking about getting involved locally here.
It's an absolute terrible thing if you ever have to be involved in it.
I'm sure.
I did it. I watched it being done several times as an observer.
To help you fall asleep.
As an observer, just to make sure keep the people honest. And it's an interesting
No Russian
experience.
collusion.
No Russian collusion in my little town in my little Vermont town. No, none. So this is interesting here. Apparently, Indonesia had a big election. Normally, they have and they do all paper ballots in Indonesia. 272 people have collapsed, have died from fatigue-related illness in the 10 days following the April 17 vote. 1,800 people are also ill.
How is that possible?
So basically, people volunteer to count votes. Okay.
So I did read the article.
Yeah.
Sorry. So here's what's interesting to me. I got that part. They're volunteering to count votes. I assume they're getting paid something.
Maybe I don't know.
But they go on and on in that article about Japan, but nothing about Indonesia. Why are people all of a sudden working themselves to death in Indonesia? Because you don't think of Indonesia as a place where people work themselves to death.
That's a good question. I'm honestly not sure.
The article, again, I feel like good information is intentionally being withheld from the article.
It could be.
Like, they didn't answer any of the things we want to know. Like,
it could be.
Why?
Well, that's A, the state of journalism today. B, would that
I literally feel like
do with their starting state of their health? You know what I'm saying? Like, would that have
but
something
300
to do with it?
people? I guess the question is how many people originally started. Does it say that in the article? How many people were involved in this vote counting business?
I'm not sure, but 192 million eligible citizens voted.
That is a lot of votes.
Excuse me, 150 million of the 192. So that's 80% voter turnout. Can you imagine that in the United States, by the way? 80% voter turnout.
How many million voted, they said?
150 million and 5 million paper ballots apiece.
So it's actually, I was trying to do 5
paper ballots apiece.
Per voter?
Per voter.
Yikes. They need to figure that.
That's 750 million ballots that needed to be counted by hand.
Now, the 80% turnout is amazing.
Yeah.
I ran some quick numbers, and if I didn't fat finger anything, it looks like a little over 134 million votes were cast in the 2016 election.
Yeah. Which we're a country
in the
of
US.
300 million, right?
So not only did
Jeff,
they get...
I don't know how many ballots you had, how many individual ballots you had in your vote, but I think I had 7 or 8 on mine.
Did you really?
Well,
because they do a bunch of state stuff.
When you're talking physical ballots, it's one. It's all one piece of paper, though.
But but it sounds like for the purpose of counting that they're talking about in Indonesia, they're counting the disparate issues.
Yeah, it sounds like
ballots.
Where our ballot says choose one for president, choose one for state representative, choose one for senator, choose one for local issue.
Well, I think the state ballots and local ballots that come up at the same time are on separate. They're separate ballots. This is all kind of pedantic, but
yeah,
I can't. We would never try to count all those
by hand.
So
we would have to have a whole different infrastructure.
Apparently, they typically don't hold regional and national votes at the same time, but this was the first time they had done it. So kind of a big deal. Yeah, I mean, just incredible. I mean,
but they worked themselves to illness and then died, and on top of the 272 who died, an additional 1,878 were ill.
Yeah. Right. So huge numbers.
I don't know what's going on here. And everyone talks about, I guess it's mainly Europeans that make fun of Americans for how hard we work and we never take vacation and all this stuff. But these stories about these people in Japan, I mean, so this article says death from overwork is a scarily common occurrence around the world.
Yeah.
False.
In Indonesia, 2013, copy editor slipped into coma, died after tweeting 30 hours of work, still going strong. London, 21-year-old Bank of America intern, epileptic seizure, working 72 hours straight. There was probably a few energy drinks in there.
If not cocaine and other
Tokyo, heart failure, 31-year-old, 159 hours of overtime in a single month.
Yeah, I mean,
what are these people doing?
So what I suspect is they were told, "Hey, start counting votes," and most of them did not stop, and they kept going and going and going and going.
Craziness.
Yeah, I mean, dedication or crazy? I don't know.
Crazy.
Big question. Guys,
wait. Did you read the end of the article?
I believe so.
Back in Indonesia, the official results of the 2019 presidential election aren't due to be announced until May 22nd. That means another 3+ weeks of hand counting ballots.
Yes.
And then there's alleged voter fraud, which if this claims stick, the entire country must be forced to do a recount.
Revote. There goes another 272 people.
That's crazy, man.
Dedication for democracy, man. Dedication.
I guess.
I don't know.
That's what's wrong with America. We don't have people working themselves to death counting ballots.
This is another article.
It makes me wonder. Millennials.
It makes me wonder.
Don't have any responsibility. Won't count paper ballots. Probably wouldn't even know how to use a paper ballot if they saw one.
What's paper?
Wow.
They want to vote. They want to vote on their iPhones.
We need to work that whole voice into a bit, Tombstone. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so did you guys see this article out of the Sun? I know.
You're going to have to be more specific.
I knew I was going to get you both going.
Which one?
Was it about someone having a wardrobe malfunction? Was it about someone in the royal family doing something they shouldn't? Which flavor is it today?
No. So
if your dog eats grass, do this every day.
This is regarding Venezuela. Regarding Venezuela and Diaz Balart. I'm butchering names again.
Let me find the name.
His name is Mario Diaz Balart. Okay. He apparently suggested that this was on Tucker Carlson's show. He apparently suggested that Russia already has nuclear weapons in Venezuela.
That's pretty far out.
And that's pretty
far-fetched.
I agree. So what is your current take on Venezuela? I
don't understand why they would put them there. Because the United States is about to overthrow the government and establish a North American kleptocracy there in Venezuela, as we all know.
Right. And so my question for you guys isn't based on this. I think the story is absolutely bunk. My question is and because it's on the Sun.
I want it to be true.
But I guess my bigger question is,
Cold War.
Guys, this past week we saw no Tombstone.
Man.
We saw this week that Venezuela military forces were just rolling over people.
They've never practiced hiding.
Saw this week, was it MSNBC inadvertently totally support the Second Amendment?
Yeah, so on MSNBC, one of the commentators said, this is what happens when people don't have weapons to defend themselves from a rogue government.
I don't think they said that, but they talked about the fact that the government outlawed private firearm ownership.
That was my paraphrase.
The military has all the guns, and so the people don't have the power. The statement was something to the effect that if you have all the guns, you have all the power, and the people can't. If they can't sway the military to their side, they're powerless to fight back. And it's like, do you not even understand? Like, and in the next breath, they could go to the next article and be like, the evil NRA wants to murder children, also kill them now instead of killing them later, but the NRA wants to kill children, and it's because the Second Amendment, it should only be for hunting. You're not going to overthrow your government.
You guys want to hear? Guys want to hear MSNBC?
I don't really care, but go ahead.
Yes, I love listening to MSNBC.
You spent a lot of time down there. I think it has been surprising to a lot of people in Washington, in the administration at least, that this is taking longer than they thought, despite the sanctions, despite the pressure. With the help of Russia and other outside forces, Maduro is hanging on.
not only hanging on, but he appears to still control the military. You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country. And
there you go. There you go.
But is MSNBC really against Maduro, though? Do they really want him to go away? Because I would say they probably don't.
Who knows?
Weren't we the people who kind of propped up Chavez?
I don't think so. Not according to Bernard Sanders. I don't know. But going back to my Cold War thing, I think that what's really wrong with millennials is we've never hidden under our desks and done a duck and cover drill. So maybe we can harden America up by reintroducing the second Cold War, which is what Democrats seem to want anyways.
Wow.
So do we get? So your guys' take: get involved or don't get involved?
I don't want to get involved.
Absolutely
I'm a non-interventionalist.
No way.
See,
we only get involved. We only get involved if the Russians get involved because that's the Monroe Doctrine.
See, it's in our hemisphere, so it makes more sense and bears more watching than some of the nonsense we're involved in the Middle East right now.
Here's the question, though. Has the United States ever done a smart thing in South America?
There you go. There you go.
We have talked about South America in depth on this show, guys. We have talked about our issues down there, and we seem to botch a lot of stuff up down there.
We struggle with fruit companies and other things.
Stay away unless there is a direct threat.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, it's been fun. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
It's been another episode. Check us out at www.thefrontporchshow.com. You can also
our last episode the way it's going.
Well, Tombstone making those comments earlier.
No, I'm not even that. They're going to get bored with our arguments and everything else, but
they're going to love that we went after each other, Jeff.
But I have enjoyed it.
It was a blast, guys. I thoroughly enjoy it, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Back.
We'll see you next time if I can get that. There we go.
Don't forget to submit that Tombstone video to the Shaq big model.
I wish I was recording. I really wish I was recording.